Apparently fascism is trendy now, with Helldivers 2 becoming so popular that a lot of people are praising it for what it does in bringing people together, fighting a unified cause against monsters, cyborgs, and aliens from a different planet. But a few gaming journalists are scared of what's happening with the audience and fan base that are becoming a little bit pro-military and pro-government control, at least in the Starship Troopers style story of satiring overall fascist government and its war against bugs. And I think that is the thing what we're seeing now is mostly a response from gaming journalists that are not used to playing games with other people, at least online. They're used to only just talking about video games from a distance, maybe reviewing a few games, injecting their political thoughts and biases into those games. And now they're playing this game and they're wondering, why are people acting so in character, not realizing that is the fantasy of playing games. People play out the fantasies of the games and stories that are laid out before them. And with Helldivers 2, you're gonna Starship Troopers satire about militarized government sending you to war to die a endlessly painful death in a faraway planet. And that is just the satire there. And people are just playing up to that notion. Okay, we're in the Starship Trooper type of world and we're sacrificing ourselves for freedom and democracy. And I think that is the thing that people are doing when they're playing this game. They're not taking fascism seriously. They're just playing up to the roles that this game is presenting to them. And I think that is the case here, and people are role playing. That's what you do when you play certain characters in a certain events. I think that is the case with this game. People who have been in love with Starship Troopers, who wanted something similar to that, are majorly enthusiastic about this too. And I think that's what we're seeing online, the enthusiasm of people just playing that role of the dumb new trooper going to be sent to liberate an alien planet for democracy. Is just, it sounds stupid already in its head. People realize it's satire, but I think the gaming journalists in this overly politicized world think people are taking this absolutely seriously. They think the virtual world is as real as the real world. And I think a lot of younger people see it that way as well. Social media is as real as the real world, and anything that you do on Twitter is an actual event that is occurring in real life. And I think that is the blending of two worlds where people can't even distinguish the discrepancy between real life and the fake. And I think that is what we're seeing here, where people are just playing a game, playing a role, laughing about it. You hear some jokes on Twitter or whatever, but no one's really going out there in the world wearing armor, unless it's a video game convention. Then people will do that. But even then, I think the game journalists will be shocked if they do see it in real life at a video game convention, anime convention, or anything like that, where people are dressing up as Helldivers, which will happen. And I think this is just people playing the roles. But I think that is the thing that we're seeing in a lot of video games journalists nowadays, where they're attacking this now, thinking, okay, this is bringing in an unhealthy fascism. We got to promote this as it's warping the minds of our youth. It's making them warlike. And I think this opposition to anything that is aggressive is something that we've been seeing in a lot of the video game industry, and just not the video game industry, entertainment as a whole. Male aggression is something that's seen as something to be put down. And I think that is what this represents, where there's a certain male aggression with the military, with attacking the bugs, where they are associated with fascism, and they're trying to stamp it down within this game, releasing these ads saying don't be a fascist. Hey, remember, this is a game. Like, yeah, we do know it's a game. We don't need these PSAs. We understand the situation. And I think that is what is occurring with this game, where we're having an unhealthy amount of attention from game journalists who are feeling apprehension from this game because it came out of nowhere. It became popular out of nowhere, and it is influencing a lot of young players that are playing it, and they're enjoying the active role playing, because a lot of video games now, you don't get to be an aggressive role player in such a sort of way. If you're playing Overwatch, it's mostly a game that's focused on a modern, feminized aesthetic that is getting spread across the video game industry. And this is a game that's placating to masculine aggression, and I think that is the thing that we're seeing with Helldivers 2, and why it is being associated with fascism instantly, because it's not hiding its aggression. It's not hiding that feeling of just let's just destroy everything here, and it's doing it unabashedly, of course in a satirical way. But satire is a difficult thing to point at, especially if you're viewing everything as a political act. And I think a lot of people in modern day times view everything as a political act. That's why these different progressive ideologues are invading different entertainment spaces, movies, like video games, like other avenues of entertainment, where they're trying to put their stamp on it because they feel like it has a cultural influence that must be controlled. And I think that is the concept that we're seeing here, where people are really being pro bug killing, and they see that as an affront to their own progressive beliefs, even though the players are not thinking about that. They're thinking about Starship Troopers and it's fun, but they see that as association to maybe some influences that are maybe right-wing or fascist in that tone, or anything related to the Trump or something like that. They see those undertones within it, even though those undertones don't really exist in the game. It's satire, but I think that's what we're seeing developing and bubbling on the surface, and the anger towards this game may go in a direction that people weren't expecting. This is a sudden game that appeared out of nowhere, and I think people are growing skeptical because of this fascist angle, even though we're having arguments about the movie itself, Starship Trooper, whether it was promotion of fascism or was it really the satirical angle on fascism. And I think in the case of a lot of people, it was just a satire or something that was making a joke, and it was just a well-made movie. I think those are the key points. But other people see it as a promotion of fascism, and I think that is stemming onto this game, that conversation online on Twitter about Starship Troopers' stance on fascism, and that was a popular trend where people were talking about that for a while, and it ginned up a conversation that continued on for a while, where people were really wondering, was this really a satire? And I think, of course, it was. Paul Verhoeven, who oversaw the movie, directed it. He's always a famous satirist when it comes to these concepts of fascism, and the book was more serious about it, the real Starship Troopers book, and I think that was the intention of the director, to translate into something that was more satirical and inviting to the audience, and I think he did a good job of that. But now we're seeing that same conversation extend to Helldivers too, where people are saying, is this a satire? But it seems like people are taking it a little too seriously. I'm like, nah, it's video games. This is what people do. They make fun of the situation and they get engaged within it. And I think this is something that's been lost with the over-regulation and banned actions within a lot of these AAA titles and shooting games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, and all the others, where it's you can't even have a conversation with people online without getting banned. And I think I remember my days playing Counter-Strike. You heard all types of homophobic racial slurs, and you just played through it and you talked trash back, and people laughed at it, and you continued on with your day. It didn't ruin your life. But I think there's an oversensitivity now where people are just wanting everything to follow their own political mindset in every step of their life. They don't want anything that will burst their bubble, and I think that living your life that way is going to leave you very fragile to any turmoil or disruption in your life. And I think that is a problem that we're having today with a lot of younger generations, and Helldivers 2 is showing that with people being sensitive to a video game and its supposed outlook on fascism. But you tell me what you think about the situation. Do you think Helldivers 2 is a fascist game? I don't think so. I just think gamers are finally enjoying a good game, and that's that. But you leave a comment, tell me what you think about the situation. Like, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why. Catch you next time.